Hello and welcome, or welcome back if you're a returning viewer to the channel. WB here, and in this video what I want to do is show you how you can perform packet capture and analysis using a utility called tcpdump. And I ask, as always, if you're enjoying the content that you see on the channel, give this video a like, maybe leave me a comment or two, subscribe, click that notification bell because I'm always adding content, and check out the description for a link to our community Discord server so that you and I could continue this discussion after the video ends. All right, everybody, let's dive into a demonstration on utilizing tcpdump. All right, everybody, here we are on my desktop, and we want to go ahead and start doing some scanning there with tcpdump. I should say packet capture more specifically. So a couple of things that I want us to do here, and one of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to run an IP link, and we want to see what the current state of our F0 is. So let's do IP link, space show, and then F0. All right, so it is all right, so one of the things that we want to do is we want to set our link into promiscuous mode. So in order to do that, we're going to run sudo IP link set, and we are going to set F0 to promiscuous mode. So we will do promisc and a space and then on. All right, and if we show that link again, we should see now that it is in promiscuous mode. All right, so one thing that you might have to do is download tcpdump. So if you do a sudo and then tcpdump, and you run this, notice the command is not found. So let's do it real quick. Let me clear the screen here. Let's do a sudo app, and then we'll do an update. And let's go ahead and run that. And we'll clear our screen. We're going to rerun sudo here, but this time we'll run install. And this is going to be tcpdump. And we'll put our -y at the end here, and we'll go ahead and run this. All right, now we should have tcpdump here. Let's see if I can run it, the help, without being sudo. I don't know if you can. Yeah, there we go. So we can see that we now have it installed. We can see the version that is currently installed on the machine here. We can see we have version 4.99.1. Now let's go ahead. We'll clear the screen. Now I've got a couple of other terminals open because what we want to do, because we're using tcpdump to capture some traffic, I want us to be able to see some of that traffic. So there's a couple of things that we're going to do here, and you can look at a in the description below for some of the commands that we're going to be utilizing. Keep in mind, you can always hop on over to the Discord server, join the Discord server, and I'll have the notes in more of a a study note format for you as well. So let's go ahead, and one of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to type out sudo tcpdump -i for interface, and we're going to point it to F0, and we're going to go ahead and run this. Now, this is at verbose output suppressed. We're going to get back to the verbosity and controlling verbosity here in a second. But notice that we are now doing some packet capture. However, right, until we start to reach out across the network, it's really not capturing too much. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to generate some traffic. We're going to do a ping, and let's ping, I don't know, let's ping one of the top level DNS servers, and we'll go ahead and run that. We should start to see some ICMP traffic building here. Yeah, there we go. It took a second to refresh the page there, and we can see we have some ICMP traffic going on here. Let's generate some DNS traffic. So we'll run dig and we'll bounce this off of Google's DNS servers, and we'll do www.microsoft.com. It gives us our DNS query response back here, and what we should have seen here is, yes, we've got some DNS request information here. Looks like we've got, you can see the ICMP information here too. So you can see that we are capturing traffic. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a Control C on this to quit this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen. So notice that we can capture that information, but we can get a little bit more specific. So for instance, we can do a sudo tcpdump, again -i, and eth0. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to point it to a specific port. We're going to say port 443. Right, capture all TCP and UDP traffic that is on port 443, and we'll go ahead and run this. Now, let's generate some traffic there as well. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, and notice, by the way, let me go ahead and just keep rerunning this, and we'll generate some secure HTTP traffic here in a second. But notice that what we don't see, I guess, notice what you don't notice is the ICMP traffic, right? Well, that's because the way we started this is we said only port 443. All right, so if I go back here, let me clear the screen. I got a little function that somebody showed me in my bash RC file. So let's do a cheat SU. So it's going to reach out to an HTTPS, right? So now what we should see is that we have some information here, right? Because we are capturing that secure web traffic, and we can even see the TCP flags here in the output. Just as a kind of a reminder, you know, it's not really so much about the flags here. I do encourage you to look more into this information, right? But remember that when we're using TCP, it is a connection-oriented protocol. We can see we have some sequencing information, and we've got the TCP flags here. For instance, this is a SYN packet. We can see it's a synchronized packet. It is starting the TCP connection. This one here, the dot there, that is an acknowledgement packet. P is push, right? Pushing data to an application, right? So you got a variety of different flags here. There we go, fin, gracefully closing the connection, right? So what we're seeing here is the TCP IP stream as well as that, you know, related to that port 443 configuration that we did here as well. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to Control C this. And let's keep going. Let's see. I don't know about you, but I think this is kind of fun. Let's keep going here. So I could get specific to a specific a protocol, right? So I could do sudo tcp dump -i, again eth0, and we could say, yeah, I do want to capture that ICMP information. Now keep in mind, the moment we run this, because we're running a persistent ping, it instantly starts to give us information as well too. Now also keep in mind, maybe we say, you know what, not only do I want you to do maybe I want to specify the transport protocol and the port, right? So for instance, in this case, maybe I want to capture DNS queries and responses. So I could do, if I could spell sudo, I can do a sudo tcpdump -i, and then eth0 here. And then from here, what we can do is we can say UDP, so we're defining our transport protocol, and port 53. And we can run this. All right, now let's go ahead. Let's go back to our dig command. I think I ran that here, right? Our domain internet groper, right? And let's send a DNS query out to Google's DNS server, and we get a response back. And what we should see is that we've now captured some of that DNS specific traffic as well. We can go a little. Maybe we want to, you know, capture something like TCP traffic over port 80. All right, so we can do that as well. Give you another example. Go ahead and clear our screen here. Give us a nice clean canvas. And what we can do now is a sudo tcpdump, again -i. I hope you're following along, and I hope every time we retype this, you don't just push the up arrow. So don't practice it until you get it right. Practice it until you can't get it wrong, right? So eth0, and that goes for me as well too. This is one of the reasons I do this, because I would forget my head if it wasn't attached. We're going to do a space -port and then 80. Take a second just to look at that command, right? So we're going to say, I want to look at unencrypted web traffic. Now there is, and I'll put a link in the description below, there is a nice website that I use just to test unencrypted web traffic. You're not putting any information in here, and it's called, we can navigate with the curl command. Let's get some of that information, right? We're going to get curl HTTP ://, and it's HTTP forever, tcpdump.com/, and let's say grab the first field. So we'll put $1 there. All right, so it pulled back that unencrypted web traffic. And you can see here that that's what we're seeing here. Keep in mind, the ICMP or the ping is still going, but we're not seeing that information here because we told tcpdump, this is what I want you to do. Now, I also mentioned that we can control verbosity. There are a couple of things that you can do. You can start out just by doing a sudo tcpdump and -i here. So we're naming our interface again. But what we're going to do now is a space -v, and it will tell you this in the output if you don't push the -v or put the -v. It won't it'll let you know that you're not doing verbose output. So let's go ahead. Let's rerun some of these commands that we use to generate a little traffic. That's all I'm doing is pushing the up arrow. Right. I want to see some information. Right. So now we're getting a lot of additional information here too. Right. You can see over here we've got our timestamps. Right. Ooh, we got a lot of good information there too. So we're capturing, this is NTP here, so it looks like the NTP traffic as well too. So we can start to see that we got a lot of additional verbosity here. Now we can add another V to this, so a double V, and the double V will do the same verbosity, but it can add additional protocol level details as well. And again, when we run something like this, let's go ahead. Again, just kind of generating some traffic here. And you can certainly do this running these commands. Make it easier on yourself. You can just push the up arrow, generate some traffic for you. But again, keep in mind, we're increasing the verbosity here too. Well, maybe it's the performance you need to increase. Well, what you can do here, let me clear the screen on this one again. You can run a sudo tcpdump -i. You should have this memorized by now, space -f0. And now what I can do is say, you know what, disable DNS, right? I don't want any service name resolution. And now when I run this, right, notice that, again, we're kind of instantly generating that traffic with our ping here. And you can see, look how shortened our responses are, right? So if you want to increase the performance and clarity, you can disable things like DNS and name resolution. Now, what if you want to also add maybe disable, I should say, a double negative there. You want to disable both host name and port name resolution. Well, just like the verbosity and then adding another V, you can do that here too. And I'm just going to use the up arrow here. I am cheating and not taking my own advice, right? When we add the N here, now what you're saying is don't do host name or port name resolution. So if you need to just increase the performance really quickly, you can do that too. Maybe what you want to do, I talk about this in some of the courses that I teach, right? Maybe for purposes of integration, some of the records into, you know, a SIM or something like that, and you're using I think it's the ISO 8607. You're using some kind of standardized format. Well, you can actually do that here too. So what we can do is a sudo, and again, tcpdump -i -0. I'm sure you're probably getting very, very tired of that. And we can do a dash and then 4 T's and hit enter. And now what you can see here is now we have the date and we have the time and then our identifier here as well too. So there is some ways that you can do some additional things. Now, let's go a little farther. Hopefully you're following along. And as always, keep in mind that I've got some other demonstrations for some things if you're getting into cybersecurity. Check out the channel. Now, let's say that we want to control how many packets we want to capture, and then we want to stop tcpdump. Well, we can do that too. We can, oops, if I can spell sudo, we can do a sudo and then space. We're going to run tcpdump again, and then -i, and then f0. And what we're going to do now is we could define the count with a -c, and I could say capture 1,000 packets and then stop. Now, I will tell you, it could take a little bit, but if you have a lot of data flowing, that you might want to do this. I'm going to show you how it stops. It will capture those and then drop the rest. So I'm going to shorten this down to 10, right? And it will not take too long because we've got our ICMP running in the background too. All right, so there it did. Notice it captured 10. All right, so we can also control the count of the packet too. Maybe we want to do, some scrolling through live captures. Well, we can do that as well. Let's do a clear here. All right, and then next we're going to run sudo tcpdump -i eth0, right? And what we're going to do here is we're going to do a -n, and we're going to pipe this out to less, giving you the ability to scroll through live captures. So for instance, we've got our ICMP. Let's generate some additional traffic here, and what you'll see is that this starts to populate, and since we've piped it out to less, it gives us the ability to scroll through these live captures that we're doing. So that's an example that we can do here, and you can see it's actually writing that. Let me go ahead and quit out of this and clear that. So that gives you an example. Maybe you want to do something like piping the results out to a text file. Well, you can actually do that. You can do something like sudo tcpdump, right? We can do -i eth0, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to do a space, a -n, and then we're going to use our greater than symbol, and we're going to pipe our results out to results.txt, and we'll go ahead and hit enter. All right, and we can see some information. We're going to go ahead and again just kind of generating some traffic here really quick on the spot, and then we'll go ahead and we're going to control C that. All right, and then we can use our cat functionality if we want. We can cat the results, and we can see that that information is there. Great thing that we can do here is we can then turn around if we wanted. We can cat that, and then we can grep it, and we could run regular expressions if we want, or we can say, hey, I want to maybe a particular number you want to find in a timestamp, right? You can do that, or this looks like a port value here more specifically, right? And it allows you to filter. So maybe we do P, right? And it gives us NTP, ICMP, right? So just to give you an example, right? It allows you the ability to capture that information into a text file. But we can also capture it into a binary PCAP file. So for instance, if we wanted, we could do something like sudo and then tcpdump and then a space, again, the same thing here, -i eth0. And now what we're going to do is we're going to say, take that and write it. So -w space results. And now I will tell you, I could just do results right here, because remember in Linux, the file extension doesn't really matter. It knows what the file is, but maybe I want to incorporate this into Wireshark, right? So we want to use a PCAP functionality. Well, we can actually add the PCAP functionality here, and we can run this. Again, we've got our ICMP traffic here in the background, generate some more traffic here just to fill up the file a little bit faster. There we go. So we've got our PCAP file. We're going to go ahead and control C this. And if we look in our directory here, we now have the results.pcap file and that results.txt file. Now, if we do a cat and we do results.pcap, you're going to see we have a little bit of information that looks like plain text, looks like, but we do have a lot of additional binary information, right? This is not supposed to be read by cat, but it can be read by tcpdump. So now what we can do, we want to run or read the contents. You could also import this into Wireshark, by the way, too. So we could do a sudo tcpdump. Now we don't really need the interface, by the way, so this is one time that we're kind of deviating from that, and what we're doing is doing a space -r, and we're going to point it to the results.pcap file. And now when you see we're running this, notice that it's giving us some human readable output here. So it is a great way that you can capture this on a Linux system. You can save it in a PCAP format that you can then turn around and export into other systems, such as a Wireshark Wireshark, whether it's in Linux or if it's on Windows, right? Wireshark's supported across many different platforms, and it gives you that interoperability. So there you have it, everybody. That is a little bit on TCP dump and a few different things that you can do with it. I hope that it has enlightened you into some of the things that you can utilize with TCP dump, and it can also help you for those of you out there that are studying maybe different cybersecurity certifications so that you can be successful on the exam. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining me.